You can ask questions in the chat. We will be monitoring the chat for questions that come in and answering them as well.
And we're live. So
we're live right now. Hello, everybody in Facebook, YouTube, wherever else we're streaming land. This is CLCI Live's Lunch and Learn. Sorry. Today we are with our 102 soon-to-be graduates. We're going to be graduating as certified master life coaches or master certified life coaches. I get them mixed up. But in the last leg of our journey, we're going to be answering their business and marketing questions, or any questions related to coaching at all. We like a variety of questions. To introduce ourselves, my name is Anthony. I am the project director with Certified Life Coach Institute, and I have a background with Brooke in marketing and business strategy. We owned a successful business together and ran it. I specialize in copywriting and copy editing and all things process improvement related. Brooke, are you ready to introduce yourself?
Hello. I have a background in creative and entertainment, and also in several years ago, I started my own marketing and branding company, and that was the company that Anthony joined with me. And I have been working here at CLCI as Chief Strategy Officer, amongst other things, for quite a long time now. We have a lot of experience in the realm of business and marketing and coaching as well. So any questions in those space, we are more than do our best to answer. Of course, we don't have the answers to everything. So if you have feedback or input, we always welcome that as well. Also, we will be monitoring chats both through YouTube, Facebook, and the meeting that we're in itself. We're going to prioritize questions that come through the meeting. So we'll answer those first, of course. Also, with regard to answering questions in the meeting, please, if you can, address them to everybody so that we can get to them. If they're addressed to us personally, sometimes it doesn't give us the opportunity to answer, and we don't know if it's because you want confidentiality or something along those lines. So sometimes it makes it harder for those to address. So just letting you know, best practice, best policy is to address questions to everybody in the chat. That's all for me on my end. I see faces. That's amazing. So we're going to turn it over to you and hear what questions you may have. So
yeah, who would like to go first?
Anybody? I see everybody's trepidatious for the first question. The first time we do this.
And after the first question, people start asking.
Then it starts to roll. Yeah. Anything that you don't know or want clarification on with regard to, really anything in the realm of coaching, marketing, or business. Yeah.
Abby, yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
So I do family coaching, and I also do conflict resolution coaching. So I work with, they're kind of two different avenues. The onboarding process is very different for both. And so I'm really trying to figure out how to seamlessly integrate my marketing strategy for both of those. And right now I use Kajabi for, I build courses for moms for their home, so that's kind of like another side thing that I do. But for like my coaching branch, I host it all in Kajabi so that it's all in one spot. But I'm just realizing how difficult it is to market both and advertise both and speak both languages. And I just wonder if you guys have some input or just a way to just streamline that for me a little bit.
So I want to first say thank you for sharing that is a difficult thing to do, because I think that a lot of us don't realize when we choose, two different or basically ways to go in this, or we choose two different paths, we are essentially dividing, and you can attest this, Abby, dividing ourselves, our time, our resources, just everything gets split into two. And the more that we do that, the more that we choose different clients to coach, I'm sure what you're finding, Abby, is what's difficult is you have to speak a certain message to your moms. You have to speak a certain message to your conflict resolution clients. And those messages are not the same or identical. And because of that, it makes it very difficult to do something like integrate the two. Because how do we do that? We've got two different audiences we are speaking to and with. So to be honest, I would say how to seamlessly integrate them and bring them together. You would have to truthfully create a space where your client is the solutions they're looking to solve, what they're hiring you to do is that client is both a mom and both in need of conflict resolution, I would say. Because ultimately, it is two different realms. It's two different markets of human beings. And so it has to be on its own split. There are ways where you can use tools that will assist you in creating, and I'm going to put out a campaign here. I'm going to put out a campaign here. I'm doing it all from the same space. But again, those tools have to be being used in spaces that both those clients are, right? Your conflict resolution folks might not be looking for you in the same space as your moms are looking for you. So we truly do, by choosing to go down more than one path, what will happen in my experience and from what I have seen, you either muddy your message so that it becomes not as specific and not as tailored to that client, and it becomes more generic and less effective message, or you are truly dividing your time and your energy between the markets you are choosing. And I don't, on the top of my head, I don't have a great solution for joining them together. I really don't. And I wish I did. Anthony, do you?
Well, I was gonna add that sort of third sort of thing, which is how inclined are you to like create a super client out of both of them? Like this one ideal client has need of family coaching and conflict resolution in, I guess, their family unit. That could be a way to sort of narrow down the message a bit further to one person rather than having two distinct client personas for the two different markets, because then essentially you're just building two different businesses with the same service being offered, which is coaching. So I'm kind of curious what your thoughts on that are, Abby.
I love that. I have like a vision of Power Rangers like joining their rings together and it like becoming a super client. I feel like though, because my husband is also a certified coach, and so we coach together in the family aspect of it. And so I feel like I just have to separate in my head what that can look like and how to go full speed ahead in creating my super client and being okay with not, it sounds terrible, but not including my husband's side of it, which I don't know that I am. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's kind of another, I mean, to consider your full picture is to also consider your husband's sort of side of things. So if you can maybe help us out a little bit, what is it you offer that your husband doesn't offer? And like maybe where do you guys even overlap?
That's good. So specifically we do couples coaching, family coaching. I'm probably the one that's diving in. I am the one that dives into conflict coaching more. And then he does one-on-one and I also do one-on-one as well. And so the overlap is the family coaching for sure. That's where the clients come in together. I have an online presence. He does not. That might kind of help clear that up too. But we are in the email world and, talking to our email subscribers and email lists and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think that's the full picture, if that clears something up.
I have a question, Anthony.
Yeah.
So when you're relationship coaching, who is your ideal client? And in this case, I will allow for 2 people.
So the ideal client for, you mean like for the family unit or for like just a couple coaching?
Well, that's what, so it sounds like where I'm getting lost here is I hear a lot of, because family can mean a lot of things, right? And family
Right.
can have a lot of issues. There's can be a lot of things going on, right? So there's one thing when we say family, it's couples coaching, but there's also families where you're coaching parents who have a specific issue with a child, you're coaching parents who are in a different place and maybe their children have moved up, grown out. You're coaching parents who are dealing with infidelity. You're coaching maybe not parents at all, and it's just about couples. So I guess what I'm asking is who is your ideal client in that space when you say family? And it sounded like there was more than one client
I think,
in a single session.
sure, that's correct. And anytime there's 2 clients in a session, I consider it family coaching.
Okay.
So that's kind of how we've defined it.
So, well, I was gonna maybe go on like the idea of our client awareness level of like what the problem and solution is. One possible way to go about this is the people you're looking to capture are possibly problem aware. There's aware that I have a need of coaching. My family has a need of coaching. I'm not exactly sure what the solution is though. And that solution can be filtered down towards after they work with you somehow, maybe through an intake, maybe through a coaching session, something like that. They discover what is their solution. Is their solution one-on-one conflict resolution? Is their solution couples coaching? Is the solution coaching as like a bigger family unit? Things like that. So you're starting at the upper level of the funnel to capture people. And then through working with you, your clients figure out, okay, this is the solution that I need as I'm talking with you. That could be one possible way to go about this.
Yeah, I still worry. I still have concerns about it, truthfully, because we're not able to tailor a specific message to the family unit, right? Again, there's a lot of things going on in different families. We have all different kinds of things and issues going on. And for me, it's a very broad, it's broader blanket or net that you're casting. And so what you're doing is assuming that when you say that, I assume they're problem aware, you're also assuming they're already in her funnel. And that's where and that she's directing them once they're in the funnel, right? So my concern comes from is what is she doing to get them in their funnel? How is she casting that net to get people, families into her realm essentially, and knowing what she does, what she offers, or what her and her husband do and what they offer, and how are you getting to them, getting their interest and sort of speaking their language when the net is that widely cast, right? Because she can offer a wealth of solutions, but it's such a broad market. You need a lot of resources, a lot of time, and a lot of energy. And also you're going to need you're going to have a lot of different messages out there, right? So family coaching, I think, is one thing, but my course says, okay, what are these families seeking you out for more specifically? What we just did a live on this. What job are they hiring you to do? And most consistently. And of course there can be variation in that. There can be everyone's going to have their own personal needs, wants, and desires, but what ultimately is causing them to go, okay, a coach is the solution. I'm looking for a solution. I mean, really, what is the problem they are hiring you to solve? And that can be a number of things, and you would know best because you're working with them. So I mean, I'm always, not to say that there isn't a way to be somewhat successful by being, I mean, I cautiously say this because you are being more specific by narrowing it to families, but families can look like a lot of things and have a lot of problems. So I would just always go towards being more specific and being as specific as you can when presenting solutions and when presenting creating your content as well, because that's how you really tap into what people need is by being capable of speaking to what it is they're going through and what they need, solutions they need. And if it's too generic, we start to lose trust in that. I think of Lisa when I built her couples coach website, and couples are, I mean, most people coming in were married, therefore families, but we tailored it to couples, and we tailored it to couples who were having trouble with communication and struggling with infidelity and struggling with that, you know, they felt broken. And that's who's coming through her door. And that kind of family coaching, which we would call couples coaching, can look very different than parents who are coming in because they have a neurodivergent child and they're struggling managing it, and they want coaching on how to move forward through this and maneuver through it. So that's a totally different market, right? That's a whole different group of people. So that's why I say becoming aware of what the problem they are hiring you to solve is, and speaking into that will work a lot stronger for you than just saying family coaching, you know, because that can be so many things. And it can lead to a lack of trust if somebody clicks on your site and it doesn't speak to what they are looking for specifically.
So could a messaging be like communication coaching with family coaching? Like,
yeah, or family conflict resolution. Like family conflict resolution, I can
okay.
do that. But again, I'm wondering what that conflict is. What is I mean, in most cases, what is the conflict? Is it that they're, I mean, communication is the solution, where you're right there, you're talking, what is it? What's the word?
Benefits versus
process. Essentially, you're talking process. What they really want to hear is what the results are going to be, and how their lives are going to change at the end of this. So, just saying communication, I don't know that that's going to pique a ton of interest. Again, it's a generic term. It's the most generic degree a human being can get in college, I think.
Another thing to consider is
a lot of things.
Since in a family unit, we're dealing with multiple people, who is it that's actually seeking coaching out and buying the product? Identifying that person in the family unit. So I don't think it's going to be maybe the child in this family who's like a teenager or elementary school. So obviously we're not going to be targeting them in the messaging, but in different family units, who is most likely going to be seeking out your services?
Well, that's but you've got to talk to everybody who's getting coached, because that's another, we've had folks come through that are coaches for parents who are having difficulty communicating with a child. They have a child that is acting out, that is doing something, and they want that child to do better, right, in school and things like that. And so that's like, their family can mean so many things again. So it's just me giving you examples of really just narrowing that focus and figuring out who it is that's hiring you, what are they hiring you for, and also if it is a situation where you're going to be coaching a teenager and it's a sponsee, at that point it becomes a sponsored kind of thing. You've got to talk to, in your marketing, the teenager, even though they're not hiring too, because the teenager has to buy into it to some degree as well.
I'd like to highlight as well, Yvette in the chat. I've decided that my niche is women. Is that too broad? And then as you were talking, Brooke, I think I know my answer. So we kind of discovered in the process that niching down and being very specific is always a good thing.
Micro niching it's terrifying. It gets very scary. But one of the things we say is that if your client's 1 in a million, there's 7,000 of them out there. So, and I guarantee you that your client isn't 1 in a million. I guarantee that as you create your message, we as humans are whole people, and we can, you've seen it in this class, as somebody else is being coached, we relate, even if it's not directly to what's going on in their lives, we will run it through our own personal filters and start to go, oh, I kind of get that. Similar things will happen, even though you feel like you're speaking to a single human being. People will start to connect with you, and they'll connect with your message. And you're casting a wider net than you think you are, even though it's scary.
Were we able to answer all your questions, Abby?
I think the narrowing down and targeting who's going to be actually paying for it is really helpful, because I've had both dads and moms approach me. And so I think that's helpful. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Jacqueline, you've had your hand raised.
So I just wanted to share with Abby just a thought, and then I have a question for you guys. Abby, I have found that I have a certain area that I love to focus on, that I have built clientele with. And what I've done with adding this coaching style in is I've actually gone and looked at other people's sites just to see how are they listing themselves, how are they marketing themselves. And what I think is really beautiful with what you do is that it's all focused around family units, right? Whether it be couples, right? Couples are considered family to me, right? If they have a pet or a niece they're taking care of, or whoever. But maybe check out different websites and see how their marketing strategies are and how they're listing all the services that they do. And maybe that's something to think about. I know for me, that's been helpful to realize that my niche might be as a reader and a channeler and seeing things for people, right, as a clairvoyant medium. But I also offer this specific type of coaching as well, because what I do also, I have to coach people through what we're seeing and what I'm getting through spirit. So for me, I think it's what I found is just by looking at other marketing websites and whatnot and seeing how I can add my taglines in and how I can add my additional practices in that can also speak to other people. So I feel like it also kind of gives a bigger picture for people. Like, I'm this, but I also offer this, this, and this. And so just a thought.
Also great, real quick, with this week, we are doing our coach marketing 101 live on Tuesday at 4:00 is going to be about literally how to not look at your competition as competition, but to use your competition and how to use competition as a tool specifically. So that's a big, you touched on that right now, and thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's really funny, Brooke, because now I have a face to your name because I listen to the podcast and I hear your name, and now I have a face to the name on the podcast that you guys do, that you share. So hey,
Hi.
my question for Anthony and Brooke is, I left social media just because I was on it for such a long time, had a very large following, and I left it because of it just didn't feel like it was serving me anymore. And I deleted everything, my business page, everything, right? I'm kind of reinventing myself in a new way, as how I like a rebirth anyways. And so I'm rebuilding social media again, and it seems like a lot. And I'm like, damn it, I should have held on to. However, I'm having a hard time with connecting to social media again. And I wanted to get back on social media because honestly, let's call it as it is, it's free marketing. And so for me, I'm trying to find that balance with getting on social media. What would be your advice on that?
Well, I'm going to say right out the gate, social media is a lot of things, right? So start where your ideal client is. Like, you can pretty much ignore other places. So figure out where the client that's going to hire you is, what social media they're using. And that's where I would focus my time and attention. You can always create accounts, in other places. That's fine. But really, you want to focus your time and energy where you're going to get the return on investment, right? And that investment comes in more than money. It comes in time, it comes in energy. And so you want to get return of that. Different platforms grow in different ways. It is getting harder and harder on older platforms to organically grow. It's not impossible, but it has gotten like a little bit harder, just because it's become like Instagram and Facebook have become so heavily, and even LinkedIn, inundated with ads, and that's how they're making their money. And so they just make it, if you have a business account, a little harder to grow organically. But it's not impossible. There are absolutely ways. The best way, I always say, is to be social. So to be on there, actively using it. So that's where, when it comes to picking a single platform and being actively engaged in it. You have to be following accounts that are like you, following accounts that are your clients. So they follow you back. If you can get in and work with other people that already have a following and find ways to cross market, that's huge. Different accounts, different platforms. Look, you can grow really fast on TikTok, like TikTok, boom, you can fly quickly. But that might not be where your client is. That might not be where your paying client is. So I wouldn't waste time there if that's the case. There is some benefit in having like a big following in one space, but then migrating them to the other is always difficult. So again, I always say, focus your time and energy where you're going to get the most return, and then just let the rest of it sort of settle. You know what I mean? Just don't, it can just wait. It's okay. Pick one space that's really going to work for you and really focus on mastering that space. And then once you feel like that's good, I got that, the wheels are off, then start to consider a second space and add it.
Gotcha. Yeah. I have definitely over years mastered, I don't want to say mastered, but I knew Facebook very well on creating events and so on and so forth. Instagram, I had a hard time with. I have a hard time with technology in general. So this is where I struggle the most. But I have found that Facebook has been like my go-to. Honestly, it's a little bit easier for me. It's more streamlined than Instagram. I don't know why Instagram's such a trouble for me. But my other question is, this is where I am not internet savvy. The front page, or Mike called it something when you create a business page for a website, it's like your first page. I don't know. What's that?
Landing page.
Landing page. Yeah. Do you think a landing page is kind of enough to give people for marketing, or do you really need to go into it with a website with services and linking, scheduling, so on and so forth?
A landing page is enough if it has enough information. So like hypothetically, you could have a landing page that's just the entire website and it takes minutes to scroll down the entire page. That's obviously not applicable in many situations, but you should have the minimum. If you're just going with one landing page, it should have a minimum amount of information in like subjects such as, what is it you're offering? How much are you offering? How to get in contact with you? Brooke, am I missing other things?
I will say one time that like a landing page might be enough, and I would have no, you would not want like a menu at the top or anything. Like this is if you created like an offering. So if you had an event you were selling a ticket for, if you had maybe it's an ebook or something that people are going to input their email and grab that ebook. At that point, it might be less important for you to have a full-blown website, because what you're selling is not, at that point though, keep in mind what you're posting about and selling to people is not your coaching. What you're posting about and selling to people is that thing that you're offering, be it an event, be it an ebook. And so they're not going to be looking for more than that, because what you're going to be doing is putting ads out about that specific thing. And once they've reached that point and been able to grab it, that's all they need. They don't need more, right? Ideally, you've sold them on it in everything else. So that's all they need. And you're doing that if it's in the case of like an ebook, so that you can capture their information, capture their email. So then you can email market to them, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Now that email marketing is fantastic. It's has one of the highest conversion rates out there as far as like conversions for leads. So not a bad route to go. If we're talking about you selling your coaching services, then I would say testimonials are critical. Having a way for people to not necessarily see all the services you offer, but having them a way to book to you or contact you, or having an offering something for them so that you can capture their information. This is a big thing for everybody who has a website. You are losing clients and leads by not having a way to immediately capture their email address when they get to your website, because you won't know or ever see them. They can click in and click out. So if you don't have something there that they want to input their email address on so that you can then market to them later, you are losing everybody who has visited your website. So that is so critical.
The other thought was, I mean, I had a website years ago for the business that I run now, and I actually ended it about 2 years ago because I wasn't getting a whole lot of foot traffic, honestly. And I was able to see how many people are going to that, and everybody was going to Facebook before they really went to the website, honestly. Just because the presence was bigger there. I'm kind of kicking myself in the butt right now because I had all those testimonials, I had all those reviews on my business, everything. And I was like, I'm done. I'm wiping my hands from social media. I'm not doing it anymore. And I'm kind of kicking myself for it at this point. So reinventing myself is kind of what I have to do. I have posted on Yelp, put my business up there. I'm starting to ask my clientele again, can you post some reviews?
Yeah,
you
and that's
go here and do that for me?
That's something that's so important, is just don't forget, as a coach, it's okay to ask for those
Right.
reviews. Ask for them. A lot of coaches don't think to do that, but ask for those reviews. And man, if you can ask for those reviews, a picture and the use of your name, but a lot of what's amazing is there's a lot of integrations now that if somebody posts on Google a review, or on Facebook, there's a lot of plugins and links for different websites that you can link that to your website, and that their picture will automatically go with it. And that's golden, because now you're building trust with your audience, because these people are real. This is real. So don't be afraid to ask for those things. Also, don't kick yourself. It's okay, right? You'll figure it out. You'll get it. You've got them the first time. That means you're more than capable of getting them again. So
awesome. Okay. Thank you so much for both your time. I appreciate it.
Amy Pons, you had your hand raised, but also you brought up a great point earlier about TikTok being banned. That is a possibility that, TikTok as a platform might be banned. However, there were apps preceding TikTok that were similar, and there will surely be apps after it is gone that will serve a similar function.
I know Anthony's banking on it because he no longer has TikTok, and he
Yes, I'm very sad. I got rid of it for security reasons. But there was Vine that preceded it, and people are waiting.
Well, and
for,
even Instagram is a lot more like TikTok nowadays than
But that niche, whatever that niche is of very short videos for short content that can go viral, it's always going to be there in some form or another. But Amy, to go on to your question, what would you like to ask?
Hi. This was actually a coaching topic for our exercise that we did just a little bit ago. So the conflict I'm having is not the question I have for you. So basically, I am a 20-year corporate marketing survivor, as I like to call it, pivoted to coach, and full stop. My niche is helping women get to the next step, whatever that looks like. From all of my experience in marketing, when I opened my business in February, I said, okay, I'm gonna have two branches, one coaching, one marketing. My conflict that I was bringing up earlier is like, do I really want to keep offering marketing? That's a sidebar, not for you two, but if I do, I've been toying with, do I keep coaching and marketing separate? Do I try to interweave them? Right now, when you land on my website, my business is Unlock the Magic, Ignite Your Flame. And then there's it's a coaching nav and a marketing nav, and it's separate. But and then my overall message is I help women thrive. Thoughts on, yeah.
You're speaking my language, because
Yes.
I've been through the same experience, and I offer, even through CLCI, I offer marketing consultation. But
Okay.
when I coach, I specifically do not want to coach people who have marketing issues. I want nothing to do with it, because what happens for me, especially because I'm somebody who's working towards a PCC, it becomes exponentially more difficult for me to take the consultation hat off, because I have all of this expertise and knowledge in the marketing and business space. I find it so hard to turn that dial down so I can just be curious and learn.
Mhm.
And that meaning it's just so much harder for me to do. That I find I'm almost competing with myself in those situations where it's it becomes really hard, much harder for me to actually coach. Like it becomes really, really hard for me to do that. And it makes it difficult for me to even enjoy the coaching as much because I'm constantly, so I found I love to coach when I am not coaching in the marketing space. It feels better. It feels natural. It feels so good because I don't have all these things that have been drilled into my head through marketing for so long.
Yes.
These alarms going off, right?
Yeah.
And that doesn't exist. I get to just be a coach. And I really love being a coach. And it's almost just too hard for me. So even when I'm seeking out any kind of clients, I'm not seeking them out in a space of marketing. I will run from it. I will refer them. I will give them out to elsewhere because I know for me personally as a human being, it is very hard for me to do that. Now,
Even if I may, I didn't even consider the fact that I could coach people on marketing issues. It's really been like mine's so separate. It's marketing consultant. So like I help you build marketing strategy, or I help you through the next best step. The where the women come in for the business side or the marketing consultant is that I help women-owned, women-led organizations so they can get the market share that they deserve. That's kind of how I've been positioning it. But interesting. I've never even thought about coaching for marketing. I would hate that too. No,
Well,
yeah.
no,
I would like to add as well, it sounds like those are two separate businesses to me.
Yeah,
If
to me,
you
it
told
sounds
me
Yeah.
that you offer marketing consulting to women in business and then coaching for women to get to the next step,
yes.
those sound completely different to me. And I mean, I could imagine the connection, but I don't see the immediate connection if I was a possible client.
That being said, I do think there could be a possibility, since you're working with women-led organizations and things like that, there are areas of coaching where that can work, right? Where we can start to go into places like executive coaching or organizational coaching, where you're coaching within their. And I just saw her go, yeah, see, and that tells you don't do that. Okay, don't go there. If you're getting that visceral reaction, don't do it.
Executive coaching. Bless
Yeah, so
all of
like
you that do it.
it's
Bless
like
you that do it.
market, but ultimately you don't want to do that, right? You're like, no, so it's a separate business.
Okay.
that tells
I
you.
appreciate that because that's what I've been like grappling with. It's like it's connected because it's all women, but at the same time, and I don't even know if I'll keep the marketing as a main offering. It might be kind of something over here in my pocket. If someone were to inquire, I'd be like, I could help with that, but I'm not sure. I kind of want to put all of my steam into coaching. So
Yeah, well, and if you're coaching, there might be ways to incorporate where you're able to build out tools or things that work as lead magnets, that work as way for you to help these women in ways that before they even get into the door with you and build that trust. And you have an amazing skill set that's going to help that other business, right? But I understand that feeling of like marketing survivor, like it's a lot. Marketing it's a stressful world to live in. And there's a reason why I closed that business and I am now focused over here on CLCI and everything like that, because it's people putting their trust in business in your hands. And it can be stressful to say the least.
yeah, no. And what's awesome though, is like I do have one marketing client right now and they're like my ideal, like wish I could like put them in a picture frame. I might actually. So I forgot what I was going to say. Oh no, they are so excited to have me on as their marketing consultant because they're like, you just know, like it's a knowing, like when they present something to me, I'm like, I'll give feedback immediately on like what works, what doesn't. But at the same time, I think that's what started to feel kind of icky to me from a marketing perspective, because you could be in one mood this second and a mood the next second, and that could resonate for you differently. It could fall differently. So it's so subjective. But anyway, I think the other thing that I was kind of thinking about is helping like this group, like helping coaches market themselves, because I understand also if you don't have that skill set, it's so hard. But I don't know if that's similar to
There's
like
an inundated market out there of people doing that. And so like, I always get a little concerned in that space because so many people, because every coach leaving here is nervous to start their business and their coaching. So
right.
not to say that there aren't great tools and people out there to help, but there is a huge market of people. You'll start to see it. Trust me, because you're gonna start
Oh,
to
I've gotten it. Yeah, I've gotten it.
yeah.
And so, and that's where I try to come from more of the authentic space is like, I'm a coach, I've been in marketing. If there's a vibe here, I can help otherwise. So,
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
okay, but thank you for the
Thank
advice.
you.
On I appreciate what you both said, and that makes sense that loud and clear. If I continue marketing, I'll keep them separate.
I see a question from Debbie Fernandez in the chat. Besides social media, where else to begin getting clients? Where is your client?
Well, let's just imagine all the places that a client could be that's not on social media.
Everywhere.
Else.
Yeah, everywhere. I mean, I've gone into, when I do ideal client exercises with people, I mean, I will go through, okay, who's your ideal client? What do they do during the day? Where do they go? Where do they fill up their gas tank? Where do they go to the store? Who do they listen to? What do they listen to? Where do they eat lunch? Where do they eat? I mean, we can go into such like a nuanced thing, right? But figure out where your client is. If your client is a mom, and she's regularly dropping her kid off at daycare, or she goes to PTA meetings, and she goes to, then you know where she is, get in there somehow, right? Start to go to those places. If your client is somebody that's going through a divorce, find divorce lawyers, and tell them, hey, I offer coaching, and start to work a referral network going through there. If your client is somebody who has worked their way through trauma and wants to start setting goals and moving forward in a space, find therapists that you can network with. Really, referral network and referral marketing is very powerful tool, because you're already coming in on a level of trust that is pretty epic compared to social media and things like that, because you're coming in with the clients are trusting you because you're being referred to by somebody they already trust. So developing
Mine's a little bit a different situation. I'll be taking this with me, the coaching world, leaving the educational world behind, and everybody that I know. So I'll be traveling and outside of America. So for me, I wanted to take it with me, looking at different platforms. It's not something that I'm going to go walk up to a new school or up to, a new hairstylist and start talking. It's like, who the hell are you? But to be honest, I just wanted to see if there was some other place besides, I mean, if I stayed here where I am, that's dead easy, I know so many people in the educational world and the hairstylist and all those people. That's the easy one. I'm just wondering.
So there's, you can list yourself in places, right? That's when we start to get into, if you're going to be listing yourself. I mean, we give you a whole, after your level 1, we should hand you a list. There should be in that email of places you can list yourself as a coach.
I don't remember getting that. Okay.
Yeah, at the bottom of like just where you can list your business, because there's like Newme and there's just certain sites. I don't know how great the return on investment is there. I've not used them, and I cannot speak to them. Even like Thumbtack and things like that, right? I know we have a coach that is tremendously successful through using Thumbtack. That is one of our graduates. He's like the best in his area. He's like one of the top 3 on Thumbtack for relationship coaching, and he's done it all through Thumbtack. That's worked tremendously for him. I know other people that hate Thumbtack, so it depends. And so there's also like BetterUp. I'm not sure how BetterUp pays or what the structure is, but I know you can apply to be a coach through them, and they provide you essentially, it's an AI matching. So they AI match people that come in and want coaching to clients. And I'm not, again, never using it, haven't used it, but we almost hired a coach that was a BetterUp coach, and that's where she got the bulk of her clients from. But they do require, I believe, for you to have ICF accreditation for you to be a coach on their site.
I'm gonna throw an idea out there that might be like out of left field as well. If you're traveling a lot and coaching and going to different places too. I read a story, it was a while ago, I can't remember what it exactly had to do with, but somebody ran their business through Hinge, where Hinge is typically thought of as a dating site, but they have the options for finding a friend and also for business and networking. And they used the business and networking option as they were hopping from major city to major city, that was the way to get people that, as they're moving around, people in the area who are looking to network for businesses and sell services as well, were using that avenue. It's a bit of a weird approach, and I'm sure there's
Great out of the box approach. Yeah.
Really
yeah,
out of
but there are other services, I can't remember off the top of my head, that are similar to that, where for travelers, I don't know how often you're traveling.
A lot.
Yeah,
a
so
lot.
but I assume you'll be doing virtual coaching then,
Yes,
right?
yes,
That's the plan. And
yes.
so,
Okay, so then
Okay.
you're looking towards a wider net of people, rather than coaching in person then from city to city.
Yeah. I also have to think about the different languages, but yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Abby, I was referencing Hinge as a way to use business. It's
I think
primarily
also,
dating, but there's business
I
and
think-
marketing.
Is
or
it,
business
is it
marketing.
is it called Bumble? Is that what, is it?
Bumble's dating exclusively.
No, but they also, no, they also have the same thing where you can find friends and you.
Oh, so maybe I'm getting Bumble mixed up with Hinge. So
Maybe, yeah.
as you can tell, I'm not on the dating apps anymore. So it's been a while.
I don't think Tinder offers an option in this.
No.
space, so I
No,
could-
that kind of business we're not talking about for coaches.
Maybe you could try. You just be somebody on there on Tinder offering coaching, and randomly people come
Yeah,
across
you can
It's not for
catfish
dating,
people
here to
into
coach you.
coaching.
I'll be your dating coach.
That actually might be.
Who knows?
I might steal that for my own coach.
I
But yeah.
think we're getting close to time. I saw a message
Yeah,
from
Dan
Dan,
said
so
5
we have
minutes.
about 2 minutes left.
Does anybody else have any
Yeah,
other
take a
questions? Quick questions. I'm looking in the chat
Been
as
fun.
well.
You guys have been a great group. We appreciate it. Love it when there's lots of conversation and feedback. So
Then I guess we'll wrap it up and do our little thing where we say goodbye to everybody where we're streaming. Be sure to like, subscribe, share. Join us not next Sunday, but next time we go live, which is on Tuesday. We talk about Marketing 101 using the competition as a tool.
all of April, I think we have one more week of marketing. So all of April, we're talking about marketing. And on that note too, we always say, check out our previous lives, our lunch and learns, and we provide a ton of the podcast, ton of tools that I think are often untapped and forgotten by our alumni. And I'm always here to remind you, there's all kinds of stuff. We're constantly trying to create ways to help you through all of these processes, both in the coaching space, the business space, and the business space. So Abby, where is that found? We will give you links for sure. So
As I'm
we have blogs too, tons of blogs. Put up blogs. We generate a lot of content. All of it's meant to help our coaches and alumni. So
I'm trying to get the link right now to
I'm
our
gonna stop the
page.
live stream and not end. So I have a